Hey kids, it's JJ again. I've got an interesting little invention for you today. As some of you know, or maybe do not know, I like to build things out of spare parts when it comes to the quad world. One of the first things I built, a build that wasn't supposed to be there, was this guy. I did a review on this, or an overview, whatever you want to call it. This is a drone, so it's GPS enabled. Looks like an antenna needs a little bit of help. So it's GPS enabled, running iNav. This actually started out life as a RoboCat frame, which a lot of you probably know what those are. I did some frame modifications, obviously, because it used to be a standard quad. You had the two arms going this way, two arms going that way. But it is now running iNav and all those fun things. And if you watched my video of flying around my lake back home, this is actually the drone that I used for that. After I did that one, I had another quad. I don't know if I ever did a review of this one or not, that I also turned into a Y4. This was a little bit more major surgery. This one, I actually did have to cut the frame up and do some interesting things with that. But this is a standard quad running Omnibus F3. It's a Y4 configuration, obviously, runs great. I love this thing. It's been... this poor frame was a few things in its life before it became this. So just kind of running generic motors, little B ESCs, and that's about it. Nothing fancy. So I do love drones. I've probably built 10 of them. I've got a 330, which is an F330. Usually I have a dome over the top here, but I was tweaking some things on that. I've got another one. You can't really see very well. Whoa, that's a 450. And then obviously we have the Y4. As far as drones go, which meaning GPS enabled, they have return to launch, they can be programmed by waypoints and all that good stuff. So I wanted to show you the one I just got done. I live in the Midwest, unfortunately, and we get a lot of snow and a lot of nasty weather. Most of my quads, if not all of them, my quadcopters are actually waterproofed or extremely water resistant with conformal coat. But I wanted to build something that was a little bit more off the hook. So here's what this is. Check that thing out. This is my little extreme weather aerial drone, or my E-WAD as I call it. Very cool little thing. I've been working on this for a while. It's more of just a fun project. I'll start with the frame. What this frame started out to be, I think it was sent to me as a Makerfire 200. So it's a single bottom piece, and then it had the pod on the top, similar to, it looked something like this, you know, had the pod. And I didn't really love the frame. I did the review on it, it's okay, whatever else. So then I had a bunch of spare parts, obviously, and I made it into this. So basically I removed the pod totally. And if you can see my little dome there, there's my dome. I put the dome on there. This thing is running, it's all made out of spare parts I had laying around. 1000 TVL camera, a 20 amp all-in-one ESC, which is, you can't really see it through the glow, but it's like right in there. Omnibus F3 controller, that's got your barometer in there for your altitude hold, and your GPS position hold, you have to have a barometer. And then there is a power distribution board down here as well at the very bottom. And I also stuffed in my 600 milliwatt transmitter that you see in the video that's coming up after this for my FPV. And then I curled my far view antenna around. 2600 Racer Star Racing Edition motors and these psychotic Ninja Star 6-bladed props. These are actually 50/40 6-blade. Also running a Radio-Link GPS SE100. The GPS unit has the compass built in, or the magnometer, and the GPS. This is by far the best GPS I have ever used on a drone. I got into the hobby a few years ago by building a drone. I didn't even build a quadcopter. I've always built drones from scratch and loved it. And I was using, let's see, these type of GPSs, which are actually the U blocks. It usually has a white cover over the top. Yeah, well, it's not that important anyway. They're good GPSs, don't get me wrong. They're about 20 bucks. This guy, I think this GPS unit is about 26 bucks. And it gets satellites like, boom, now. I mean, just, it doesn't need to, it warms up in about 10 seconds. Absolutely amazing GPS unit. Extremely accurate. You'll see in the video coming up behind this, I do a return to launch a couple of times. Now, I'm flying in the subdivision, so I didn't want to get too far away or do anything too crazy, because that was actually what you're going to see in the movie is the maiden flight DVR footage. So yeah, that's basically it. The thing that makes this unique, the reason I call this my extreme weather, my E-WAD, is the fact that the entire thing is waterproof. It does not look like it. If you look at it, you're like, okay, it just looks like a normal drone. But it's not. Every single board is triple layered with conformal coat, which is a waterproofing compound. I've used this in my videos a couple times, but in case you don't know, silicone modified conformal coating. It's basically rubbery nail polish, if you want to think of it that way. You smear it on your boards and you let it dry. It dries in 30 seconds, and you can solder right through it. So if you need to resolder something, that's fine. So everything from the OLED, which is organic light emitting diode, I'll show you that in a minute, all the way down to the power distribution board, including the camera, all my electrical connections, my ESCs, GPS, like I said, camera, motors don't need to be. The only thing it probably doesn't have conformal coat on here is right here, which you don't need it. So yeah, this thing, and plus you've got this cover. The reason I put this cover on here, obviously it's going to shield it even better from moisture, but I want to fly this. This is my snowmobile. This is my Midwest Ohio fly the frickin' anywhere you want to snowmobile. So I plan on taking this up when I see storms coming. I want to be able to video some stuff. I will throw it in the air at 20-mile-an-hour winds. I don't really care. The reason I will do that, these are reasonably small props, but they do have a lot of amp draw because they're 6-bladed props. But, however, I'm running 2,600 motors. So I don't know if you've ever flown in the wind, but if you fly a big bird in the wind, like a 450, the wind will take it. I mean, because propellers are wings. The bigger the propeller, the more wings you have, the more core that you have. So in a really strong storm, I've had the best luck running a standard like 250, 220 micro. I'm sorry, mini quad. The little tiny guys actually hold up pretty well, but the problem that they have is they don't have enough grip and they don't have enough weight to really hold in the wind. So you want to shoot for something middle. So I was thinking, okay, we'll put some extreme boat propellers on this thing and a very light frame. This thing weighs, I mean, all in, I should weigh it. It doesn't weigh anything. It weighs probably less than a standard mini quad. I'm running a huge battery on it right now. But so I've got 2,600 kV motors. It can run 3S or 4S and 6-bladed props. These things, even if these things will just cut through wind like crazy. I'm not too worried about that. The other thing, this is running iNav firmware. So if anybody has any questions about iNav, let me know. iNav is basically smart Betaflight, okay? It's put on the same way you put on Betaflight. The configurator looks very familiar if you're used to Betaflight, but iNav has all your GPS, return to home, waypoint, you know, all that stuff. So basically you're turning them into a flying robot when you put in iNav. And so another thing that I did, thinking, okay, I'm going to be flying this thing in snowstorms and rainstorms and whatever, I opened up. You basically tell the flight controller, okay, what are my limits? What can I do? I have the auto return. If need be, it'll actually go at about an 80-degree angle shooting back home, so I can really cut into that wind. So it's pretty cool. I do have a beeper in here as well. OLED. Now what the OLED does, when you boot this thing up, let me show you. Can you see that? Organic LED. So it tells you how many, I already have 15 satellites, look at that, that's insane. And it tells you some information, your battery strength, and do you have a 3D fix. So if you're out in the field and for some reason it won't arm, and you're not sure, do I have satellites, do I not? Of course, my OSD has this as well. But these things are like $5, and they're just kind of fun to put on there, so it looks cool at night. So the OLED is very cool. That just wires into where the mag wires into on your flight controller, and that data is serialized out into the OLED. What else can I say about this? You could probably literally dunk this in water, pull it out, shake it off, and fly it away. That's how waterproof this thing is. I spent a lot of time going over everything with a fine-tooth comb, so it will handle. Like I said, this cover is going to keep most of your moisture out anyway, but what little moisture does get in, my conformal coating is going to take care of. On this particular, right now, I just did the video, I'm running a 4,000 milliamp 3S. That's a little extreme, but I can fly like 10 to 15 minutes on a full charge. I put this in without it even being fully charged, so because I just want to do some test maidens. This thing's been a long time in the coming. I've just worked on it here and there when I've had time. So if you have any questions about it, please let me know. I love drones. I love mini quads, micro quads, anything that flies with props. I love it. But I do love drones because drones are kind of relaxing. You know, you can just get up there in the air, and if you get into trouble, hit return to home, it comes home. If you want to go super high, go super high, and it's got GPS position hold, so you just want to stick in space while you're talking to the neighbor or something. They're just great fun, and you can build a drone for about $30 more than you can build a quad for, and you get all those features. Now it takes a little bit of work and homework to get them set up right, but if you want to delve into it, let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you. I've built a bunch of these with omnibus controllers and using iNav. If you'll notice in the video, I do have some PID tweaking to do. It shakes, it gets a little bit of prop wash coming down on the landings, and for some reason I keep turning to the right in yaw a little tiny bit, and it kind of drifts, so I need to tighten up my PID settings. But other than that, she flew really well. It returned to home. It landed within 2 feet of where it took off. I very rarely let them land. Usually if I'm doing a return to home, it's just because I'm done flying or for something I've gotten in trouble with. I'll make it so it just flies till it gets overhead, and then I usually take control back over. There's no acro mode, at least not on mine, because my drones aren't set up for acro. Only my mini quad. So anyway, I've droned on long enough. Haha. Stay tuned for the FPV footage of the Maiden. As always, keep the shiny up and subscribe. Later.